So cards in Druid Karn that I'm still looking to change, to reiterate again. I'm still looking to find a room for Tireless Tracker. I cut the Dryad Arbor for the Rising Canopy, the third. Hall of the Bandit Lord's been very, very good if I have a Teferi in play. If I can go like turn 2 Teferi, then I can go Hall of the Bandit Lord. If I can somehow protect Teferi, then I can easily just win at instant speed with Druid there. Not instant speed, sorry. Win on my turn uninterrupted with the Teferi. So in a normal Coco list, I'd look at this hand and go, okay, I have the Dork. I don't have the Druid, so I'd probably mulligan this. This hand will go turn 1 Dork. I can't even go turn 2 Teferi because the Verdant Catacombs, I don't run a Hollowed Fountain in my list. So it's not like I can go turn 1 Dork, turn 2 Teferi, turn 3 Shalai. I can't even do that with this hand. So this is a mulligan. If I can scry a land to the top, this hand is actually pretty good. Perfect. So this hand wants to go... Oh, okay, we're going up against Gemstone Caverns. This is free win red. We do not have a basic forest on top, so if they do turn 1 Blood Moon, we could be in a little bit of trouble here. Chalice on 1 I don't care about. So I want to point out the difference between Finale and Chord here. In this list, we couldn't play Chord right here. Okay, so they have the Chandra, so I think they're just going to have us here. They kill the Druid. I can Ewit back the Druid, play Druid next turn. I can Scooze. I think the best line is the Ewit line. I just need to combo kill my opponent here. And this way the Ewit can put pressure on the Chandra as well. Free win red, yeah. With Seasoned Pyromancer is actually pretty cool. So they're flooding the board here, so I can't actually... I can't kill Chandra. I think I want to go to 13 and play Scooze here and just pass turn. They have to have a removal spell for the Druid, or I just win the game. Seasoned Pyromancer is really good. I was actually checking. It's pretty expensive, too. Okay, free win wet red with Karn. So they can lattice lock me. They can get a bridge. Probably have another Chalice in there. Just not going to be fast enough if they play Karn right now. Okay. So they need a gut shot. Actually, they don't even need a gut shot. I don't have to expose the Druid. They need a bolt. Yeah, this is pretty neat how it's... It's pretty neat how it's adapted to having Karn in it. So I'm just... I see no reason not to block here, I guess. Chalice on 1 did absolutely nothing here. Now they could have a surgical extraction still, if they timed it right. Nope, okay. You can see my chat bar? I'm sorry about that. Actually, it's because I don't have all my images here. I can't move the chat bar over anymore. There we go. So Finale's actually less clicks here than Ballista would be. Okay, we beat Freewind Red, so we want Knight of Autumn. Yeah, those are some big dorks. I don't know what else I really need here. Like Knight of Autumn's definitely coming in. My opponent did not see that Chalice hurt me at all, so they might actually side Chalice out, but Chalice actually on 1, if they can drop that turn 1, can be pretty devastating to me. Teferi bounces Blood Moon and is easy to cast under an Oath of Nissa. Neat interaction. I can have a bunch of mountains in play and still cast Teferi if I have an Oath out. Shalai seems really good. I'm intrigued by Skooz just enough, but he might be cut. So Crypt does nothing. So my artifact package. Oh, Ugin's coming in. So my artifact package doesn't do much. Rest in Peace doesn't do much. Paths, you could argue, do a little bit, but I think I come up the board just fine on its own. So Ugin lets me get a pretty big board against my opponent and draw a ton of cards, and lets me kill a Chandra, which is, I think, really important here. I'll cut the Skooz. I'm going to cut a Utopia Sprawl. No, I can easily put it on a forest. Cut it to Teferi. Yeah, I mean, Teferi grinds really well, and sometimes they just drop a bridge and a Blood Moon and say, go, and they don't do anything. If they don't put pressure on me, Teferi's really good at making the game last a long time. This hand's pretty good. If I get a Vizier... Like, this hand's... Teferi makes this hand better, because he can draw me extra cards with the Oath of Nissa. Opponent did mulligan and scryed... Oh, they didn't mulligan. Sorry, they kept their 7. And Blood Moon doesn't do much against this deck. Take Shalai. The card that I've been impressed with for a long time in Modern, and I've jammed it into a bunch of weird decks, has been Oath of Nissa. I jammed it in Death Shadow for a while. I've jammed it in some pretty weird decks. I think I just want to... I have Oath out, so I don't care about Teferi getting the blue. So I'm just going to get another basic forest, and I'll have all my basic forests in my hand and in play. Okay. I wonder if my opponent doesn't play Bridge, because they're playing with these Seasoned Pyromancers. So I wanted to drop Shalai to protect Devoted Druid and also to put a threat on the board. I could have dropped a Fairy, but he would just die. It doesn't do too much there. Just want to buy another turn so I can try to draw a Vizier or a Finale here. Really, Finale would just win me the game. Buy back Shalai. And I could drop it to Teferi here. Yeah, let's get it to Teferi. Okay, so I have lethal next turn. I have the double white to cast it. Yeah, all of a sudden we are 5-color mono green. Yes, yes, yes. I've actually been thinking more and more about running more of a blue splash. Like, we do run 2 breeding pools, and that's just for Teferi, but we have the Oath of Nissa for Teferi, so we don't really need it as much. They are attacking Teferi. He's dead either way. That's fine. I wouldn't actually mind drawing a Teferi here, because then I can drop a Teferi, and then I can drop a Vizier and try to win the game right there. Chalice on 2. Oh, you evil, evil opponent. I need Teferi now to get rid of a Chalice. Teferi or a Karn can get rid of a Chalice. Yep. That was a mistake. Okay, now I'm not in a great spot. Now I have one more turn to find it. So I was talking earlier about adding... It's alright, opponent. We both made that same mistake. Karn. Not Karn. Okay. So Shalai can once again protect Druid from Chandra. And I guess I just thin my deck here. Get a Temple Garden. I know they want to go Hellbent, yeah, but they didn't have to cast it like that. I'm gonna get a breeding pool in case I draw a Teferi, because I no longer have the Oath in play. No point in blocking in case they have a bolt in hand. So now what I need to do is I can drop Karn, right? Karn can get me the Ballista, but I can't play Vizier until the Chalice. So what I want to do here is 1, 2, 3, 4, drop Karn. Kill the Chalice on 2. Play Vizier. Make infinitely sized creatures. They have a bridge, so I can't attack. Actually, I don't need to make infinitely large. I just need to make them 1 larger. Next turn, I get to ping them. I just need to make my threats large enough so they don't die to a Chandra here. Next turn I can either Lattice Lock them Or just Ballista kill them. So, what do they have here? Yeah, so we just win. Unless I misclick. Okay, 1-0. It's free win red. You can see Karn did a lot of work there. Blowing up chalices is really, really strong. Teferi could have done that too. Thank you very much. I just want a good matchup. Yeah, let's see what round 2 has in store for us. Absolutely play first against Helixer. This is an easy mulligan. So we go turn 1 Oath of Nissa, which makes the scry kind of irrelevant. We are digging for a land. So I can go turn 1 Oath, turn 2 Scoos. This is too slow. Lead off with the Misty. Doesn't tell my opponent much of what I am. I have a feeling my opponent could also be a Druid deck here. And I need to draw well. I needed that to not be a land. I need to draw like a Vizier. I think we're up against another Druid deck. Oh, I could be wrong. Okay, that's a good draw. We still need to draw a Finale, though. So I'll pass. So if I draw a Finale next turn, we win. Okay, Infect. Yep. You called it. Get the Breeding Pool in case we draw a Teferi, so we can bounce the Blighted Agent. So we have infinite mana, but we have nothing to do with it. I don't even know if it's worth dropping an Eternal Witness here. No, we kept a pretty bad hand. It's a pretty bad 5. I needed to draw well. I drew 1 piece. Any other pump spell and we're dead? Yep. Death. 9 plus Exalted's 10. Okay, so this is not a very good matchup. We want 3 paths, maybe an Ugin, just as an extra removal spell. Knight of Autumn is only interesting if we have Teferi in play. We can go Teferi, Finale, instant speed, blow up a Inkmoth Nexus, which is an artifact, but other than that, I don't think it's important enough. Normally in like my Finks list, I'd be siding out the Kitchen Finks. Damping Sphere can slow them down, but I have Karn to get that. I think, because so what I could do is I could side out Karn and bring in the extra Ballista, EE, and Damping Sphere, but I think Karn is just too important. Karn is, in this matchup, just if pretend Karn is Duskwatch Recruiter, and I wouldn't side out Duskwatch Recruiter in this matchup. Like, I need all my combo pieces, and Karn is an extra Walking Ballista. So that's why I think I need to keep the Karns in. I don't know if the Ugin's worth it. It's really slow. If I get a lot of mana fast, it does kill stuff and blocks well, and it is a win condition on its own. Skooz is absolutely irrelevant here. I like the Teferis. I like that Shalai flies. I like Ewitting Path. I think I'll run this. This hand's fine. It's got turn 1 dig, it's got a path, it's got a druid, it's got a Karn. Okay, well that's a lot of choices. At least it's not a whiff, I guess. I am only running 21 lands right now, and I've been flooding hard in this matchup. The reason I fetched a basic there was I wanted to fetch to thin my deck. I can always get a breeding pool with one of these Verdant Catacombs if I need it. I can always get a temple if I need it. But if my opponent could kill me with just raw damage if they really, really wanted to. So I think I need to path this now. So I have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I can drop a Karn and path something. I think that's the best line. Unfortunately, Path makes their Inkmoth Nexus more accessible. But Karn can get a Pithing Needle to shut that down. Is there any advantage to playing Karn this turn or waiting a turn where I can Karn Pithing Needle? So if my plan is to Karn Pithing Needle, I want to wait a turn. If my plan is to Karn get Ballista, then I should Karn right now. I think I do too, which is really unfortunate, but at least I get to drop another Druid and kind of go off of that. If I draw a Vizier, I win the game now. Having this Verdant Catacombs up is representing some form of interaction, which I wouldn't have done if I tapped out with the Karn. But then my opponent would have only had, let's say they drop a land, they would have had 1 land, 1 mana worth of resources to kill me, so I don't think I was dead either way. Unless I had like Scale Up and 2 mutagenic growths. Sure. Not punished. I think that was a risky line for my opponent there. Okay. Now I get Pithing Needle. Ink Moth. Nexus. And I sit tight here. All Karn. All Karn. All day. All day, all Karn. So now we get to minus, get a Ballista, and or an EE if they drop like a X1. Actually, I can't EE on 1 because of Needle. Oh, that was a little painful. Did they even see Karn game 1? So we can't lattice them. Or can we? How much mana do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 mana means I cannot lattice, but I can make a pretty big Ballista here. And then next turn I can try to lattice them, I guess. I can't see why they would bring in Viridian Corruptor against me. I feel like that's just like a really odd play, right? I'm probably dead. They have 5 cards in hand, plenty of mana. And I'm already at 5 Infect, so it's not even going to like take that much. I played the Arbor Elf so I can block the Viridian Corruptor. I think that forces my hand here. I don't want the rebound because that just kills me. I think I just have to use the Ballista here. It's interesting to me they're choosing to fight over this instead of the Ink Moth when they have an extra way to protect the Ink Moth with Pendelhaven. Okay. So this will be 2... This is lethal, right? And I can't stop it. So I have to try. Okay, so opponent had to have missequenced that, right? They had to have. What they should have done is they should have activated the Ink Moth Nexus, baited with the Pendelhaven, just made me respond. Yeah, I feel like unless they have a mutagenic growth here, or, I mean, okay, I'm at 7. I should be dead, though. And now they're dead. So I can't, I have to lattice lock them here. I can't grab another ballista. Okay. But I can't kill them that turn. All I could do is lock them. So I think the sideboard plan was fine. I might want another Ewit just to grab path again. But I don't need as many paths because I have to ferry. I think Shalai flying is better than Ewit not flying. Easy game, easy life. That I should not. I definitely should have lost there. I don't know why or how I didn't lose. I think opponent definitely made a mistake there. They put me in a spot where I had to that I only had one course of action, and that course of action was I had to kill their 2/2. And once they put me down that path, once Ballista was small enough, what they could have done is accepted the fact that their 2/2 died, and then gone ahead and killed me with Inkmoth. So this hand's great. So I'm going to go turn 1 Arbor, turn 2 Utopia into Druid, and hold up Path. What are the odds they have a turn 2 kill here? So they go land, scale up, Might of Old Krosa, swing. I think I have to path here. I have to, yeah. I hate giving Infect lands. So my play now is turn 2 Druid, turn 3 Teferi or Karn, and go from there. Blue, Druid, pass turn. Okay, dismember the Druid. Teferi gets a lot worse against Inkmoth Nexus. I might just be dead. Yeah, this is not a very good matchup. They goldfish about as fast as us. They need only one piece of interaction. We need multiple. So we take 2 here. I have a feeling they have a handful of creatures and not spells. Otherwise, I think we should just be dead here. Okay. Oh, I just missed a land drop? I did. Alright. I think I'm just dead anyway, though. This isn't just green-white. They had the blue for Distortion Strike. I should not have missed that land drop. I should have dropped Arbor Elf and then had tons of mana next turn, but I think the green-blue, they had the Distortion Strike, right? Either way, next turn I'm Karn and grabbing Pithing Needle most likely. That's the line I'm kind of forced to take here. If I'm not dead. Okay, so next turn, because I punted and I don't have the Arbor Elf in play, I might be dead. fine. Got a 4. Oh, they're killing Teferi? I feel like that was a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available mana. So the line I wanted to take was Karn, Pithing Needle, but they dropped the Glistener Elf. So I have 5 available mana, which means I could Finale for Ewit and pick up Path, but then I can't do anything else. So I think what I actually just need to do is drop an Elf, I think I want to Finale for another Arbor Elf, and then next turn, and block 1 here if I'm not dead. Then next turn I have 2 Arbor Elves, so I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I can Karn and Lattice, or Karn and get a big... Oh, this doesn't do double green. Alright. Well, that line's out the window. I was thinking I could grab another elf. Yeah, I don't have double green. But then I could have lattice locked them, or just grabbed a big ballista. Like a 3/3 ballista might be able to save me. Yep. Sure. Do you have the last pump spell? Because you could have Pendlehavened first. Alright, you're just slow rolling opponent. That's game. Alright. Fell to Infect. Not a very good matchup. I should have been a little bit better off right there if I had put the Arbor Elf in play a turn before. That's actually my first match loss with this deck. Small sample size, only 9 matches. That is my first match loss with the deck. Up against Soul Strong here with a hand that I will keep. Little land heavy again. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of these four land hands. Yeah, I've been happy with this record so far. I think Karn is just better than... I think Karn is just a stronger power level than Ballista here. But either way, we have Undisrupted, we have a turn 3 kill here. Looks like we're up against blue-white control. So I'm going to stop fetching basics. Have I played control yet? I've played control once and went to 3. So far I have played against Lantern, the War Lantern, Dredge, Merfolk, Blue-White Control, Mardu Aristocrats, Blue-White Spirits, Goblins, and Freewind Red. And then you just saw Infect also. One, two, three, four, 5 available mana. I think I'm going to start with Utopia Sprawl since it's effectively free. We'll go white. Opponent needs a path. They need a counter spell. They need something here. Mana Leak. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. So how do we want to win? Do we want to ballista kill them? Do we want to lattice lock them? How do you want to kill here? Karn lock? Alright, let me grab the lattice. Oh, if we gone ballista, we had the... Why didn't our opponent Force of Negation the Karn? Why didn't they Force of Negation the Karn? Okay. Alright. That was on me for being cheeky, but if they had just Force of Negation to the Karn, they won the game. Maybe they assumed I had Ballista in hand. Even still, they can't take that risk. It's not like they had another thing to do. Alright. Force of Negation does not stop walking Ballista, so... Opponent's just dead. And we flooded pretty hard here. 3 lands in the graveyard. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have drew 9 lands and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 non-land cards. Yeah, we shouldn't... I mean, to be fair, it didn't matter which one we did because if our opponent had the Force of Negation, they should have used it on the Karn. Okay. So we have Ugin in this matchup, which I don't know if is better than Tracker. Knight of Autumn's fine in this matchup. And what do I cut? Cut an Elf and a Vizier and go from there. Actually, don't even know if I need... I think I'd rather have the Arbor Elf or the Vizier over the Knight of Autumn. Yeah. It's not really like... Force of Negation is not... It's not that great. I mean, our opponent didn't even have a... They had no interaction with us. They had a mana leak and a... That's about it. No path, no anything. Force of Negation is pretty helpful. I don't know if it's main boardable right now. But if they had it, why didn't they just counter the Karn? If they had countered that Karn, that game would have been drastically different, and we'd have been in top deck mode, waiting. I mean, I would have been able to crack open that canopy, draw 2 cards. They had no answer for the Druid in play, so I could have drawn into an Ewit or a Karn, another Karn or a Ballista or something, or Finale, just to win the game on the spot. You got bottles for me, awesome. How'd you like the beer? Did you drink it all? She just made like a raspberry wine. And it's actually really... It's my favorite red wine I've ever drank. I'm not a big wine guy, but it's really good. Soul Strong. You know what's interesting? I don't know if it's true or not, but I feel like it is. Every opponent I've ever had who has this monkey as their icon, I think they've all been blue players. Like blue-red, blue-white. I think they've all been blue players. I do whine a lot. Comes with the territory. Opponent. Okay. I think this hand is actually pretty good against blue-white control. So I have Oath of Nissa to grab me Karn or a Druid. I have Teferi to protect my combo, and I have Hall of the Bandit Lord so I can combo at instant speed. I will keep this. This is an example of how this deck is different from traditional Druid lists. So this would normally be an unkeepable hand if this was like a Mana Dork and that was like an Eternal Witness or something, or a Kitchen Finks. So, working out like we planned. I am not going to drop Devoted Druid next turn. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to play Hall of the Bandit Lord, and then I'm going to get a Breeding Pool, play Teferi, unless it's obvious that they have counter magic up, and then Teferi is going to protect me while I can drop Hall and Druid at the same turn. That's my line. Of course, if they have Field of Ruin, that really clearly messes up the Hall plan. In that case, I'll just Ewit back the Hall. But this is the matchup that Hall of the Bandit Lord and Teferi are really for. This deck is very good at grinding. This deck is very good at wearing down interactive opponents. Just having all these different 2-for-1s. And the Teferi Oath of Nissa line is actually pretty cool. Actually, I don't even need to... So they have the Field of Ruin. Sure. So I'm actually just going to land a Teferi here instead of landing... I can Ewit that later. Surprise! Oh. Well, that was really unfortunate. That was kind of rude. Opponent, I really wanted to land Teferi there. Okay, now they have Cryptic Mana up. So I'm going to lead off with the Eternal Witness to buy back one of these cards. Yep. Go Elf, pass. This game, our opponent's having a much better game so far. One, two, three, four. I'm going to go Shalai Druid and then try to win next turn with Shalai Protection. Okay. So a path still does it because they could Teferi Tuck Shalai. They do have Terminus mana in hand. Or if that works. Okay. Yeah. Opponent so far has had a pretty good game. I think I just need to drop the Karn here into the Cryptic Mana. There's not much else I can really do here. We're not under threat of dying yet because they haven't played a Colonnade. We are at 11 life because of all these shocks. Snap, Spell Pierce. Yeah. Okay. If I can land Ugin, I think I might have a chance here. Okay, they have Logic now. I cannot land Ugin. This game is over. Let's run the same exact list. Interestingly enough there, if I had instead of dropped Teferi, if I'd played around Spell Pierce, which I was not expecting, I don't think Spell Pierce is generally good against Druid decks. So same game plan. Try to land Teferi. Digging for Druid here. Let's grab the Karn. So in a normal Druid list, I would try to combo quickly against blue-white control and their shields are down the first few turns. But in this particular version, I have a lot of protection with Teferi, so I can actually outgrind them. Between Teferi and Karn, I can kind of battle their own planeswalkers a little bit here. Let's go white. Okay. That means Teferi will stick. I don't really care about the Skoos here. But I care about this Teferi, and this Teferi gets to bounce my Oath of Nissa, which draws me effectively 2 more cards. In this deck, Teferi is a protection spell, but he's also divination, which is really cool. Synergy, synergy! I'll absolutely trade a Skoos for a Snapcaster all day long here. What do you take from this hand, opponent? I think you have to take Druid. They took the Ballista. Interesting. One, two, three, four. I have 5 mana. So my Ballista's in the bottom. I think they want to kill, they want to use this click to kill Teferi, and I think they got rid of the Ballista so they could remove the Teferi from play. Now I can play my next Teferi and bounce this click. I can actually have enough mana to... the wrong color mana, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can't play Teferi and Druid. I can play Karn while they're tapped out. Karn can do a little bit. Karn still dies to click also. But then I can have a Karn and a Teferi in play and make them kill one. I think I have to put Druid in play. So I want to lead off with the Oath then. I was 1 mana shy of being able to play another Teferi, bounce the click, and protect my combo. The good news is next turn I have a ton of mana. So if they don't have a removal spell, I'm actually kind of okay. I can play around counter magic here. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 mana, so I can play Teferi, have them make them counter the Teferi, and then play the Vizier. Because once Teferi lands, they can't do anything else, and I win. So my current order of operations is play Garden, Teferi, Vizier, and then Karn, and try to win the game. If they don't path me right now. Okay, so they're representing Cryptic Command mana. They need 2 counter spells, though. So I can cast Teferi because of Oath of Nissa. Then Teferi, yeah. Cryptic alone doesn't win them the game. Well, maybe it does. Let's see here. Sure. Wish I'd played Hall of the Bandit Lord instead. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available mana. Okay. Good line, opponent. Good line. You still have to answer this Druid. Or have more counter magic. I've been saying for a little while, I do think Blue-White Control, I'm ignoring Hogvine nonsense, because I think that deck is silly. I think Blue-White Control is the best deck in the format. I think it's got a lot of new cards. I think it can be built in a lot of different ways, so it can attack different metas. And I think how it can be built in so many different ways makes it more difficult for opponents. For example, are they running Click Main? Are they running how many little Teferis? How many big Teferis? Are they even running Jace? Are they running the Terminus package? Or are they running the Supreme Verdict package? A mix of both? What do you play around? Do you bring in Thrun to beat Supreme Verdict and then lose to Wrath of God? Day of Judgment. Yeah, Wrath of God or Terminus. Like, how do you beat blue-eye control when it can be built in so many different ways? Are they bringing in Baneslayer Angel out of the board, or Lyra, the equivalent? There's so many different ways that blue-white control can be built, and not just its removal package with cards like the Tension Sphere. That's why I was considering bringing Knight of Autumn in, was just to combat Detention Sphere. That's it. The only reason I wanted to bring Knight of Autumn in was for Detention Sphere. But what if my opponent doesn't even run it? Then I have a card in my hand that is effectively useless. Because if they don't have Detention Sphere, then Knight of Autumn is a 3-mana 4/3, which I'm not going to beat blue-white control playing fair. Opponent's taking a while on this opt. Yeah, Choke and Boil. That works. I do run islands too, though, so I guess I don't need islands. So I could run Choke. Oath of Nissa does a good job of making me not need them. And I usually only need to tap my breeding pool once to drop a Teferi. So looking at the situation we're currently in, right, opponent has to kill Devoted Druid or have a counter magic spell, a hard counter on Vizier, or a hard counter on Karn, which we know that they run Force of Negation. I've lost Scavenging Ooze, so it's in the graveyard, so the Snapcaster Mage is a live draw for them now. That's really all Scooz was doing in this matchup. Teferi, I already have played 2 of them, so I need to get... Teferi would be a great draw in this particular spot. Maybe they are getting food. I'm a little hungry too. Also out of coffee. Call Fefe. What's going on, opponent? I will say, though, if our opponent is taking this long to actually decide this line they're taking, that's one reason why I like MTGO over Paper Magic in a lot of cases, is I've taken 5 minutes to decide if I'm going to keep Mull or Hand before. Oh, they disconnected. Downside of playing an internet game. But if they were actually considering, like, oh, okay, well, can I beat this? How do I do this? How do I, the entire, I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but the entire game could be decided upon this opponent's opt decision. Like, if they have a Mana Leak in hand, like, if the Mana Leak is the top card, and they're like, well, is Mana Leak good enough? Maybe it is. Like, it could be good enough if they time it correctly, right? They know I have Vizier. They know I have Karn. So they know they have to beat that. So in that case, Mana Leak is not good enough, and they know that. So they should bottom that. But what if the card is another click? Do you bottom another click? I don't think so. I think that could be what they're thinking about if they were thinking about this hypothetically. We know that they actually lost connection. But if it was another click, would you keep that? I think I would. You can attack with this click, then on my draw step you can click me and get rid of the Vizier, which loses to if I draw another Vizier or if I draw a Finale or something like that. When I top Sensei's Divining Top, I think you always have to do that. But while opponent's disconnected, I'm going to refill my coffee, so I'll be right back. Okay, so they're playing Jace. So they're probably going to minus bounce the Druid. Yep. And I think I'm fine with that. And they attack me. So now I have to decide what I'm going to do. I clearly wish I had Hall of the Bandit Lord in play right now, because that would just be lethal. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available mana. I can Karn, grab a Pithing Needle on Jace, and then I will lose Karn to this Vendilion Click. I can Karn, get a Ballista, kill the Click, and then make it a Karn versus Jace battle. But I think the correct line, no matter what I do, is to play this Hall of the Bandit Lord, which means I'm not going to be ballistating. Yeah. One, two, three, four. I'm going to play Karn. And I think Pithing Needle, and then I'm trading... Yeah. I think this is the right line here. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Okay. So I'm effectively trading my Karn for this Jace. And now next turn I'm setting up lethal. They have to, if they counter Druid, right, which they have to, then I can Ewit it back. If they don't counter Druid and I'm able to combo off at instant speed, then I'm able to, and they kill Karn, then I can just win. If they don't kill Karn, then I have a little bit of redundancy here. So the reason I'm loading up one land is they cannot Field of Ruin a basic land. So I figured that's the best line there. They have 2 cards in hand. I want to play Druid, play Vizier, and then Ewit back Karn to win the game. The question is, another line I could take, right, is I could play Ewit, 1, 2, 3, play Teferi, bounce the Click. I actually don't want to bounce the Click. So I'm not going to count colored mana sources at the moment because they don't really matter. Ewit, Teferi, 1, 2, 3, and I couldn't also play Druid. I think I have to play Druid here. I can play around Mana Leak, but I cannot play around a hard counter. Logic Knot could be 4, and I can play around that. So if I might be able to just win here. I can still play around X's 4, and now I can play around X's 10 million. Let's get Karn. So a negate or a Dovin's Veto stops me. Any hard counter for that will absolutely stop me here. And then I'll be at 6 life, which is really bad against a Click. Stone Rain out of blue-white. So this is Dovin's Veto. Okay, so that completely stopped my entire game plan, and I think I might just be dead. Maybe I should not have tapped to the Horizon Canopy so I could have cracked it. I think that might have been a better line if I'd done that. I like talking through my mistakes as well. Cryptic Command. I think my opponent's going to walk away with this game. They have a, I'm at 6. They have a hard counter. So I need 2 threats to win. Hmm. Yep. I am going to fetch this Windswept Heath just to thin my deck a little bit. What I need is a threat off the top. That works. And that needs to be countered. And I need another threat off of the Horizon Canopy. So they cryptic this. I know I'm dead on field. Okay, so they're going Snap Dovin's Veto. I have to kill them this turn. Yep. Oh, I can't draw more than one card with Narset. Game. Good job, opponent. Dead to Narset. Okay, 2 losses in a row. Ouch. I think we were in that game. I'll have to go back and rewatch. I wonder if there was a line when I should have played the Hall of the Bandit Lord like a turn before, and if that would have won me the game. It's such a weird card. Up against Hot Rod 73700. I have an acceptable hand here. This would be, again, this is going to kind of showcase, I would not keep this hand if it was a different deck. I would mulligan for a Druid. Vizier is really bad. Vizier is basically a dead card in this deck a lot of the times. But I would keep this 6, which is going turn 1 ramp, turn 2, who knows, turn 3 Karn or Shalai. I think a turn 3 Karn is what I'm actually actively mulliganing for. Never lucky Streamer's Curse. I was 7-0 before I start with this deck list before I started the stream, so of course that was the $2 queues, which are a heck of a lot easier than the actual leagues. I'll keep this hand. So I think this deck actually mulligans pretty well because it's not as reliant upon a turn 2 Druid because of the Utopia Sprawls and Arbor Elf, so there's a pretty good ramp package, and Karn is just as good as Coco. Okay. So go white. Yep, my top decks are pretty good here. That's not terrible. I need to shock for it, though, which is a little painful in this matchup. Unfortunately, if I try to minus to draw a card, they can just sack the Tribe Elder in response, so I'm just going to be plussing here. Karn actually also can't Karn lock them. They have a Valakut in play. Valakid's actually one of the few decks I can get out of a Mycosynth Lattice Lock, with even if they're on an empty board, because they can just play lands and eventually kill Karn. I'll be right back. Thought I heard a card door. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 available mana. I think I just played Druid and try to win the game. The question is, do I also play Shalai here? I don't think I do. Hey Zealot, how's it going? Decklist is not set up. This is a impromptu stream, just growing the channel before the actual league, which will take place with 20 other streamers, or 19 other streamers. Check out our website. We will be live in a few weeks, so we're still growing right now in terms of building this channel. I still have a lot of, you can see right below, it's ugly, it's bare, I need to add a lot of stuff there, but our website's gorgeous, check that out. So this is the deck list right here, MTG Zealot. Yep. So really I'm just, the goal I'm making right now is, I think I'm like 1 hour of streaming away from this channel being an affiliate. So I just have an hour of streaming left, and then I'll be going back to my normal channel. And then until July 16th, and then our hosts will be taking over this channel, and you'll be able to watch Caleb Schur, and Catlight, and Cyrus, and a bunch of other awesome players duking it out. They're all listed there. Actually, why don't I just pull up the website itself. So here's the website. We have a list of the Team Fire starters and a list of the Team Ice starters. These two teams will be duking it out head-to-head for our amusement over the course of 10 weeks and 20 nights. Alright, so you get the Bolt. If you didn't have it, you were dead. Yeah, the league should be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it. Holding up a mountain. I doubt they have another Bolt, right? So I kept a grindier hand. I should have kept a more combo-centric hand. Shalai will actually be pretty good here. She's able to hard counter a lot of stuff they can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available mana. I can Karn. So I could Karn, grab a Lattice, and then try to Lattice lock them next turn, or drop a Ballista. I think Shalai's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My opponent can kill me next turn if they have Ramp Spell and Scape Shift. So I think I'm just going to drop Shalai and play Hall of the Bandit Lord, and if I top deck a Druid, I win the game. Unfortunately, Teferi has not been very good here. Yeah, so Hall of the Bandit Lord is an interesting card. I don't like a lot of it. Flame Slash main. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 available mana. I can Ewit, minus on Teferi, see what I draw. I kind of like that line. That's thin. So, Ewit. Grab Devoted Druid. Oh. I guess I could just do that. Do you have it, opponent? No? So that's why we play Hall of the Bandit Lord. For anybody asking. Need to grab Ballista. The Lattice Lock doesn't actually kill them. Okay, opponent. I still have 20 minutes left to clock. So you just want me to click a lot. They're at 15 life, so I want a 16/16 Ballista, which is 32 mana. Sorry about that. Okay. Opponent can't do a darn thing because of Teferi, so they're just super dead. So I don't really know why they're not conceding here. Unless they're spending this time to have an extra minute to think about what they're doing post-board. I don't think Teferi is particularly good here. It really just stops their lightning bolts. Which is only a max of 4 of. I don't really know if I have anything to replace him with, though. So I could throw in Ugin, which can hit a bunch of different things and is a big threat, but I don't think I will. I think it's too slow. Could bring in Knight of Autumn to gain me a little bit of life. So cards I'm not super impressed with in this matchup are right here. I like this entire package. They're going to bring in Anger of the Gods against me. There's nothing I can really do about it. I think Knight of Autumn might be a strict upgrade to Skooz. Just to gain some life, to make them have to Scape Shift for 1 more. And I think that's about it. I don't have a lot in the sideboard for this particular matchup. That is something to consider going forward. I don't want to bring in Path against Primetime, because if they're smart, they're just going to get Valakutes anyway, and then if I Path them... Alright, this hand's fine. Keep. So once again, Hall of the Bandit Lord looks like it could be pretty impactful here. I should have had somebody in... somebody in the Discord asking about Hall specifically. So I can go turn 1 Hall, turn 2 Druid. If I draw exactly what? Vizier, I might be able to win next turn. Let's try it. Because I can go Oath to dig 3 deep. That's really a question of if I'm going Oath now or Oath later. And I think I don't really see a difference at the moment. Okay. The advantage of Hall of the Bandit Lord is I don't have to combo until I'm ready to, so I don't even have to drop, like, Devoted Druid here. I'm not going to, actually. I'm going to dig for a Vizier. Well, that's bad. Okay. More lands. Let's have this the Saint Doom Streamer's Curse of flooding harder than you should. Okay. Alright. So they're going to Acid Moss me, which means I can't even kill them next turn. It also sets me back a turn, so I just have to drop Druid now. Okay. Have to drop Druid. And next turn I can drop Teferi, bounce the Oath of Nissa, and get a free draw off of it. I guess I shouldn't auto-yield in case they anger. If they anger, I want to kill Devoted Druid to itself, so I have an extra card in the graveyard for Finale. Or Ewit. That's fine. I don't think I'm winning here. I think I have to go Druid in land. They just have too many, like, they can win at any point now. 3, 6, 7, they need one more land and escape shift and I'm dead. Yeah, Primetime kills Devoted Druid and functionally makes me dead. Okay. I lose the Primetime. Bacon, chicken, ranch, pizza on the way. If you don't deliver, I might have to ban you from chat. So this is going to come down to game 3. We're on the play. Opponent needs a lightning bolt to kill my druid. So I don't like Hall of the Bandit Lord in lists without Teferi or Giver. And the reason why is what I really like about this list is I can slow down against an opponent that's going to take a while to kill me. Is this hand good enough? So I can slow down for an opponent who's taking a while to kill me, and I can functionally go wait and drop Teferi, wait, and then combo you off on my turn with haste when you can't do anything with Teferi. Now, this is a turn 3 Karn, which I said is a keepable hand in the dark. And I absolutely agree with that. It's a keepable hand in the dark. Unfortunately, we're not in the dark. We know our opponent's on Scape Shift, and there's nothing in the sideboard that I really want against Scape Shift. If this Ballista, Arbor Elf, or if this was a Druid hand, I think I would have to keep this. But there's no Druid in it. I have Oath to dig for Druid, so I kind of like that. Doesn't matter, I'm shuffling it away. I'm going to go turn 1 Arbor Elf. And next turn I'm going to go Utopia Sprawl on the Forest, untap it, and try to hopefully hit a land drop also. And then I can Oath of Nissa and hit a Druid. Quesadillas sound pretty good. Okay, they're going to bolt the Arbor Elf. Sure, one less bolt for Druid. Fortunately, I need to hit a land here. Well, that's a Druid, but it's not a land. This might be a short match. White. Druid. Okay, so if our opponent does not have a follow-up bolt, we win the game. Simple as that. They can play Acid Moss, they can play anything, they need a removal spell or we win the game. We already know they kept a hand with at least one removal. Okay, so they have the second one. So I need to draw a land or a Druid here. We get the Druid. Okay. Same situation. That's a very good draw. Let's see if our opponent does. So I assume they max out around 6 or 7 removal spells post board. Right? Okay, so they've got hit 3 of them so far. Now I'm going to Finale for another Druid. I'm actually just going to take a Druid out of my graveyard here. Okay, once again, same situation. 2, 4, 5. Opponent's got 5 lands in play. They've drawn 3 removal spells, so they've got to be close to the limit of how many removal spells they have post-board even. We're in a situation here where they either need to kill us, kill Druid, or they die. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's Finale. For X is 2. Get a Vizier. Make lots of mana. And win the game. Whew. Okay. At this point, there's nothing our opponent can do. So Finale is actually a lot easier to play online than like if I was just going if this was a chord and I was chording for Duskwatch Recruiter, that'd be a pain in the butt. Okay. We did it. X is 25. Search the library, get a ballista, and go to combat. All right, one more. This one matters. So that was against Titanshift, and it was in 3. So far we've had, except for Free Win Red, we've had 3 in every single one. Three games. So cutting Dryad Arbor so far, I think, has been the right decision. There hasn't been a match yet where I want a Dryad Arbor. 1 land. I think I keep this though. This is a full cantrip hand. It's not very good. It looks better than it is. I'm actually going to lead off with Oath so I can draw another land. If I hit another land, Utopia Sprawl is free. Oh, I also want the Druid, though. Exactly. I'm not weak to Lily. I've run 22 lands. I'll have 1 on the bottom, so 1, 2, 3. So I'll have 19 out of 50. A 40% chance of just hitting a land. I think I might need to take Druid here. Worst case scenario, I take another turn off, digging for another land with Oath. Just the possibility here of a turn 3 kill if I top deck a land, I think is too... Okay, I didn't, but... Opponent might Spell Pierce this if they have it. Okay. I think also Dryad Arbor is really good in decks with Neoform or Eldritch Evolution. There's an extra free creature. Okay. Well, that's awkward. So they exiled a Narset. Oh, they're stuck on one land too. Alright, well, let's do this. White, pass the turn. Opponent kept a one-lander with Opt, huh? Alright. Do we win the game? Can't. Field of Ruin, a basic forest. This hand is way too redundant for Click to stop it. They would need they need to take Finale and have another Force of Negation in hand to stop me here. So we're up against blue-white control again. I brought in Ugin for that matchup. Our opponent kept a really risky hand. Blue-white control should never keep a one-lander, even with Opt, in my opinion. What do I cut here? Last time I cut an Arbor Elf, but our opponent was running Supreme Verdict. I think it still could be right. Without knowing, again, like I was saying earlier, without knowing if our opponent runs Attention Sphere. Yeah, that could be mono blue. All we know is Narset, Field of Ruin. This could be a mono blue Narset puzzle box deck. Like mono blue control. No Oath of Nissa in my hand. All the cards I want. 2 lands. I just need to hit a 3rd land. I'm not doing anything for the first few turns here, but I have a... could be Boomerang Tribal, yeah. So, this hand's really slow, but I'm up against a slow opponent. I think I'm going to keep this. I can see an argument for mulliganing this, but I do run a ton of 1-drops. There's a good chance I can draw one here, like that. Now my hand just got a lot better. I need lands to play out my spells. They're all expensive spells, so I'll take the land. I'll shock here. And try to win the game next turn. We'll see if that works out. Hey, thanks for the host. Sure. I don't actually mind them pathing it, which is why I F6'd. I need the lands for this hand anyway. So I can drop Teferi, I can drop July, I don't want to drop Karn here, or I can just try to finale for a Druid. I think the best possible play here is Teferi. And again, I don't need the correct colors because of Oath of Nissa. Okay. They took Karn and they showed me Ugin. Okay. Now I can Teferi bounce this Oath of Nissa, flicker it with the Misty Rainforest, and draw effectively 2 more cards. I can bounce the Vendilion Click, right, which will give them another peek at my hand, but will keep Teferi in play for another turn. I can just plus Teferi, and then be able to slow them down a little bit. I do have Walking Ballista, so I think that might be the right line. I'm going to plus Teferi, pass turn. They're going to swing, put Teferi down to 2. Next turn I play a Walking Ballista they cannot counter, and kill this Vendilion Click to protect my Teferi. VQWZX87, one of the members of our league. Thank you very much for the host. Opponent does not have Cryptic Mana up. Breeding Pool is not relevant as long as we have this Oath of Nissa. So I have 5 mana. Next turn I want to drop Ugin if I can. And I think Ugin can run away with the game. So kill that, plus that, pass turn. Teferi Time Raveler completely changes the dynamic of the blue-white control matchup. Normally Coco decks struggle a little bit, and now here our opponent is forced to spend their entire turn answering the Teferi in play. And now with just a single white mana up, they cannot answer this Ugin. They could do Force of Negation here, but okay. They concede to the Ugin. We win. Beat blue-white control. 3-2 the league. Which makes me pretty happy. Yay! So that will be almost 2 hours in. Unfortunately, I have to get to work now. So that'll be the end of this stream. Thank you very much for joining me. Make sure you check out the Modern Streamers League website. Make sure you check out all of our streamers. And be sure to tune in just a few weeks. We have a lot of updates rolling out in the next little bit, including updates to this streaming Twitch channel, which as of right now you can see is pretty bare bones. So we're going to be making a lot of updates. The tournament bracket will be coming out soon, and make sure you check us all out. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.